Hello everyone, Vlad here again. Finally got around to making another video. I was going to make a shaving video, so before we get into it, a few things that I thought were kind of interesting. So, thing number one is I finally finished my first ever tub of soap. What I did though is, you can see there's soap in the container, is I put other soap in it that I had from before. It's this Italian soap, Boelis Panama, that I got from Italian barber. As it was a scratch and dent, the container was half broken, and so even though I still have the lid, the ceramic bowl was actually broken, so I put the soap into the container that I had freed up. The other thing that happened was I got myself a very expensive Italian soap. This is, let me try not to break this one. So this is called Nuavia. I'm sure many of you know it and don't really need it introduced, but it just seemed like it was a product that I was missing in my den. Probably not true, but I got it and I tried it, and to be honest, the performance is pretty good. It smells nice. It's a beautiful ceramic bowl, but performance doesn't really strike me as anything super special. It's I still find soaps like Barrister Man, Declaration, Ariana and Evans. I just have it sitting here handy. The Noble Otter's latest formula. I find those all to be superior than Nuavia. Maybe I have different water and my opinion is different from others, but so be it. So for today's shave, I'm going to use my Razorock Game Changer with the 0.84 gap. I don't know if you can tell. Let's see. There. This is a radio knob handle. In my opinion, this is the best of the handles that they offer. It's very convenient to hold it by this knob, and when you're rinsing the razor, because the handle itself is not very long, so that makes it quite convenient to use. And so the blade for today is going to be Gillette Platinum. It's I don't think I actually tried this blade. I suspect that this is going to be very similar to Astra Superior Platinum because it's made in the same factory. Who knows? Anyway, so I'm just going to assemble the razor. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge, just as it is with all of the Game Changer razors, and actually Razorock Mamba as well, because the posts aren't on the top cap, they are on the bottom plate. There's a substantial amount of wax on this blade. So I'm just going to try not to cut myself while I'm doing this. Yeah. So over the past few weeks, Game Changer with the 0.68 millimeter gap was my go-to razor, but oh my god, I'm struggling here. But I decided to use the 0.84 because I used it just once before, and I remember liking the performance, and it was quite good, and so I said, well, you know what, I'm going to come back to it. It's just that my shaves with the 0.68 millimeter gap head were so comfortable. I'm including a washer. Those shades were so comfortable that I just didn't even want to try any other razors or use any other razors. Okay, that should be good. Check the blade alignment. Okay, that looks good. I mean, it should be perfect just because the posts are so thick that unless there's an issue with the blade geometry itself, this should be good. Okay. The brush for today, this is going to be a new brush for me, so we'll see how this works. The brush is this one. So this is a Shavemac brush. The handle, although I don't think neither the handle or the knot are made by Shavemac. I forgot who the handle is made by. The initials are GA, but I don't remember the name. And the knot is by Declaration Grooming. This is a B3 knot. This is by far the most expensive piece of hardware I have, and it is the most expensive brush I own. Yeah, we'll see how this works out. I haven't really broken in this brush. It still has a bit of that funk. So we'll see how that works out. And let me get rid of the blade wrapper. And the soap for today is going to be Barrister's Reserve. Not sure why I chose this soap. I just like it. I love the scent on this soap. It's probably the closest to the childhood memory of a barbershop that this is, or that this comes to. Okay, I'm just going to wet my face and we're going to get going. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay, and we're back. So I'm just going to dip the tips of the brush. That's my washing machine telling me that the cycle is done. So I dipped the tips of the brush into water and I'm going to start loading. I know there's a fair bit of water in the brush, but I also know that this soap is extremely thirsty. So for that reason, I'm not afraid to use extra water. Also, I wouldn't be surprised to see some shedding of the brush in this video because it's really the first use of this brush ever in an actual shave. What I've done before is I just put some shampoo and I kind of lathered that, and no hairs came out, just this one little stub came out, which I think was just caught in the knot, so we'll see. Yeah, but this is supposed to be a superb knot, something that's just drastically different from anything else that I've used. We'll see. I mean, I'm not a big badger brush guy too, so I'm really not sure that this was a smart purchase. Okay, so I think this is starting to look like it's the brush is loaded. Okay, so I'm just going to take some of this lather on the side and put it on my face. Might as well. And yeah, this as I said, this soap is very thirsty. I struggled with it at first, and so this might not be a great soap to use with a brush that I'm not familiar with. But hey, it is what it is. Okay, so this is a very dense knot. It has a tiny bit of scrub to it. There's a lot of water in the knot. Well, that's okay. That's how I prefer to lather this soap. It's just otherwise you get kind of very pasty lather. Great, just lost a bunch of it. I probably could have. Oh, there's lather flying everywhere. Usually this happens with synthetic brushes because they're so springy, and not with badgers, but wow, I think I actually overdid it with water, but that's okay. I don't think you can even drown this soap, so it'll be fine. So one of the things I actually wanted to talk about in this video, and I actually made a few attempts at making it, but I wasn't in the mood, and or either I screwed up saying something, and then I just decided not to put it up. But I decided that this video will go up regardless. So the thing that I wanted to talk about was how I actually initially got into wet shaving. And it's funny that because I actually start, like my first shaves, my first few years of shaving, no, maybe 2 years of shaving, were actually wet shaving. Because I used I used disposable razors, but I actually did make my own lather with an old boar brush that my dad had left me, and and some kind of cream. I don't know what kind of cream, maybe Arco. And you can see now that this lather is coming together. It has nice sheen to it. And this brush is really nice. I mean, it made a lot of lather. This is soap that I find doesn't give me a lot of volume, but I don't. There's no issue with volume here. It could be just, and it could have to do with just how much water I used. Yeah, I'm doing the Friedberg slab test just to see the peaks on the soap. Now this is a low profile soap, so you don't really see a lot of peaks. And lots of soap still left on the brush. It's all over the handle. I'm not worried about running out of lather anytime. So anyway, yeah, my first few, about a year or two of shaving were actually wet shaving because I was using a brush and a cream, but I was using a disposable razor. And it was because, essentially, my dad, he came to Canada before my mom and I did, and he never really showed me how to shave. And so he left some gear behind, and he left this old small bore knot. I don't know the diameter, but it was made in Soviet Union. It was probably something like, I don't know, I think it was an 18 millimeter knot. It was pretty small. And half a tube of cream of Arco or something like that. Funny enough, I actually had commercials for Arco in Ukraine, like in, I think it was late 90s, early 2000s. Certainly in the 90s. Yeah, so I just, at some point, I said, you know what? I have all this fuzz around around my mustache and a little bit on my chin and kind of starting to come in on the cheeks, and I said, you know what? It's time for this stuff to go. And so I just picked it up and made the best lather I could, which wasn't very good. And picked up that razor and shaved. And because I didn't, I have some skin issues. And because I didn't have a lot of hair, it was mostly fuzz, that disposable razor did just fine. I think I used it for a long time. And probably longer than I should have. And then once I came to Canada, I switched to the Mach 3 and the the foamy shaving foam. And I think I switched to the shaving foam while I was still in Ukraine. It was convenient. It was. And the reason why I switched from cartridge razor to double edge razors was not so much to do with the quality shave, it was more to do with the price. But more about that on pass number 2. Okay, so we're back. So pass number 2 is still plenty of lather in the brush. The brush feels great, to be honest. I mean, I'm trying to compare this to my Macedo brushes, and I have to say it's so far it's pretty comparable, but this brush is not broken in yet, so it's a bit different. So going back to switching from cartridge razors to double edge razors, I mean, I was at the end of my rope with the cartridge razors probably 3 or 4 years ago. Well, yeah, but maybe 4 or 5 years ago, actually, because I got into wet shaving 3 years ago, roughly speaking. And it was mostly because of the price. I mean, I remember one day I was there, and I was I think at Walmart, actually, and I was looking at this 8-pack of razors, and it was something like close to $50, and I was like, I thought to myself, there's no way in hell I'm paying this much. There's a hair on my camera. There's no way I'm paying this much, and so I picked up a bag of just disposable Gillette razors, and they did okay. I mean, they didn't last very long, but at that point, Mac 3 cartridge razors wouldn't last me very long either, and that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to pay as much as they were asking. And so I said, you know what? This isn't so bad. I can deal with these. I can deal with these disposable razors. And then I went through that bag of, I don't remember how many there were, 12 or 18 or 24 razors, and then I went back and got some new ones. And I think they were slightly different. And man, those were terrible. They were so bad. I couldn't use one for more than one shave. And so one morning, at this point, I'm like down to one or two of those razors, so I would have to go back and get some more. Otherwise, I just have nothing to shave with. And my friend shared this article on Facebook about Dollar Shave Club, and I mean, I didn't switch to Dollar Shave Club, but what that article did, it's actually kind of opened my eyes that there are other options than Gillette in the world of shaving. And then I remember my dad using a DE razor when he was still in Ukraine, and I was always curious about that, about how well those shaved and how they performed and whether they were difficult to use and whether they were dangerous and all that. And so I said, you know what? Why the heck not? Why don't I try this? So I got a Dorco Prime starter kit from Dorco USA. It's very inexpensive actually. And the razor is this, I think it's a Bailey Chinese razor that's private labeled by Dorco. It's not the best razor in the world. It's actually, it's funny because the first few shaves I had with that razor were actually pretty damn good compared to the what I was getting with the disposable razors. But now in retrospect, that I remember that razor was actually quite harsh and pretty damn aggressive, but still I didn't mind it too much. Yeah, I have some issues with my skin. I think it's seasonal allergies and whatnot. Because this is not shaving related. This is kind of just bad skin. Anyway, I'm going to rinse and we'll come back for pass number 3. All right, so pass number 3. So, let me re-lather for this pass. I like to actually re-lather for the third pass because I find that if I just use a painting motion, I'm not going to release enough lather. But we'll see. It looks like I might actually have to add a little bit of water because this lather is a little bit dry. Maybe not. Okay. That means I really hydrated this soap because I usually have to add water on the second pass already, but that's the trick with using a new brush and the one that you're not used to. Like there was a lot more water in that brush than I realized, even without dipping the tips. Anyway, so then once I got that kit, I also ordered a sampler of blades from Amazon. I probably paid way too much than I should have. The best place to get blades is from eBay. Not always. Oh, wow. Italian Barber has pretty good deals on blades too. And so I started doing some research on these blades that I got. I mean, the trick with the Amazon blades is that I didn't even know what kind of blades I was getting. So then I started Googling some of them, and that's how I ran across Nick Shave's channel. He was doing this series on blade reviews and excuse me. And while that was informative, what made a larger impact on me was his selection of software and brushes and razors. And he kept raving about how good Mercor 34C was. And that really is what made me go down the rabbit hole. I mean, it was that, and then Chris Bailey came across his channel as well. It was called the Shaving Evangelist back then. He was his videos were interesting back in the day when he kind of went through different phases. When he would make videos once in a while, and then he went to posting videos every day, sometimes twice a day because he started shaving his head. And now he's kind of back to posting videos once in a while. And I thought his videos circa 2015, 2016 were quite interesting and informative, and he definitely contributed to my going down the rabbit hole. And then there was also Busta. He's not on YouTube anymore. He got viciously bullied. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what the reason for that was, but seriously. Anyway, I mean, his videos weren't the greatest, in my opinion. Although they were informative. So it's too bad that those videos aren't on YouTube anymore. I think there was something in there. So that's kind of how it got started, and then I started exploring in different various artisans and such, and yeah, here we are. Okay, let's check what's in the brush, and I might do a quick touch-up. Although I haven't really talked much about the shave that I'm having here. I did catch myself there, which isn't so good, but it's what it is. Where'd it go? Right on top of the aftershave bottle. Great. Yeah, that's a lot of lather still left over. Yeah, I usually do another half pass just to take care of this area under the under my jawline, because that's usually pretty stubborn. But I don't think I will need a full half pass. Yeah, it's a little pretty good. Plus my skin's a bit irritated, as I said. I don't know what it is, but I've been my allergies have acted up recently quite a bit, so my skin's not doing too well. But the shave itself has been great. I mean, I think the pairing of this razor, of this head and the blade are great. I mean, it's been super smooth, fairly efficient. I think this blade would do pretty well in a milder head, in the 0.68 head as well. These blades do remind me not so much of the Astra Superior Platinum, but the green 7 o'clocks, even though they're not platinum coated. But it's that, I mean, the performance is about the same though. Anyway, let me just do this touch up quickly. So in terms of YouTube stars, wet shaving stars, so to speak, that nowadays, I really like Michael Friedberg. He's an eccentric fellow, and at first I wasn't really sure how I felt about his presentation, but as time went on, I actually started to really appreciate how he goes into the technique details, or the, how should I put it, the description of his technique and various tricks that he uses with the razor, with the brush, and so on. Okay, I think that's enough. I don't want to go any further. It's not as good of a shave as I've ever gotten, but I also don't want to piss off my skin. So let me just rinse off, and then we'll come back for the aftershave. Stay tuned. Okay, and so let's do the post-shave routine. So the aftershave food today is going to be the Australian Private Reserve Ozymandias. Hope I said it right. So let's give it a shake. I did see some particulate in there, so this definitely needs to be shaken before application. So yeah, Australian Private Reserve, somewhat of an infamous name in the wet shaving community nowadays. Look at me, second video on YouTube and already talking crap. No, not really. I mean, there was a dispute between the artisan behind the company and one of his customers, and it got pretty ugly. And I don't think the owner of the company really showed himself from the best light. I don't think he behaved well. That's my opinion. Deal with it. But I'm still going to use this product. By the way, this is the first time me using this aftershave, and you will see that the bottle is not exactly full. And so what happened was a bunch of it spilled in the box, and the vendor, top of the chain here in Canada, was kind enough to refund the full price of the aftershave bottle, even though I lost maybe a fifth of it, if that. So that was quite nice of him. The aftershave is actually quite good. I mean, I do like the scent of it. Very hard to describe these. The Australian Private Reserve soaps and aftershaves, they're known for their complex scents. And yeah, I mean, it already smells very different from the way it smelled out of the bottle. It's hard to describe it. It's a bright scent. It's a scent that's fitting to the spring and the warm weather we have in Calgary now, and yeah, this is great. And it's fairly moisturizing. My skin feels pretty good. My skin doesn't deal very well with the dry Calgary climate, so I appreciate it doing that. Okay, so I appreciate the aftershave being moisturizing, is what I meant. So quick recap. Game changer with a 0.84 gap plate and a Gillette platinum blade in there. Great. I mean, I think the Razor game changer for me is one, if not the best razor on the market now. Whether you go with a 0.68 or 0.84 gap, and it's very affordable. It's stainless steel. It should last you forever. I think it's a no-brainer. The Shavemac brush with the Declaration Grooming knot. Honestly, I'm fairly impressed because it made short work or made pretty good lather with a soap that's not necessarily trivial to use. The soap was Barrister's Reserve Classic. And yeah, I mean, so far I'm impressed. No hairs lost. I thought that the knot was a little bit short and stubby, but no, it's fine. I mean, I'm looking forward to using this again. I mean, this was good. Yeah, this was as easy to use as a synthetic knot. Okay, so I'm going to hang it up to dry here. Okay. And the aftershave, which you just saw, was the Australian Private Reserve Ozymandias. It's not cheap, but I like it. It was on sale because the top of the chain was discontinuing the APR products, and I picked it up. The soap that came with it, it was a different scent. I was not impressed with it one bit. I think it was a V1 soap. V2 is supposed to do much better, but the V1 is very, very average, and I think the regular price for that soap was 36 or something Canadian dollars. It's ridiculous. You can get Barrister and Men's a lot of the Barrister and Men's soaps for lower than that, and they're much better. Same with the Declaration, Grooming, Ariane and Evans, and the rest of them. So yeah, that's my. I'm not really a review channel, but that's my take on on a lot of these products. And again, this was my kind of story about how I got into wet shaving. If you want to share yours in the comments, that would be great. As I said during my video, I didn't hate the performance of the cartridges. They didn't disagree with my skin too much. Although I do find now that I'm getting less cuts with the DE razors, even though a lot of people are afraid that they will get completely caught up by these razors. But I mean, I got a really good shave. I mean, yeah, my skin is struggling right now, but in terms of the actual shave, and there's a little dot in here that's my problematic spot, and there was one spot in here, but really no irritation or anything. And this was on a fairly aggressive blade. I mean, for me, this is a pretty aggressive blade, 0.84 gap. I mean, I usually stick around in the 0.5, 0.6 millimeter range. Of course, that doesn't tell you the whole story of the razor, but for this kind of head geometry, that's kind of where I usually stay. Yeah, and I don't like really trashing the cartridge razors. If people like them, they can use them. I just found through experimentation that I like the D a lot more. And what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to show you that there are other options available on the market, and not just the cartridges from, whether it's from Gillette or Dollar Shave Club / Dorco or Harry's or your local grocery store private label. You can get good shaves with these really old tools, and it's probably more economical unless you go down the rabbit hole like I did. I mean, I was looking forward to saving a lot of money in wet shaving, and let me tell you, I didn't. I mean, this brush itself pretty well killed any sort of hope of saving money. But you can get a much more economical, simpler brush like this. It's a synthetic brush from Sterling. I'm covering the logo there. It's $20 ish, and it's absolutely fantastic. And yeah. Anyway, that was I probably should be done rambling. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. And thank you for you taking the time to watch the video.